John Akelson for Boating New Zealand magazine. Today we're out on the XO Defender 9.0 expedition. It's a boat out of Finland, the only one in the country. We're out on the water out of Pawanui. It's a beautiful day. Come out with us and enjoy. So we're sitting in the wheelhouse of the XO 9. It is reasonably compact, but you've got two really good suspension seats here, so very comfortable for the driver and for the front seat passenger. And the helm station is really well sorted as far as the driver is concerned. We've got dual MFDs up there. It shows all of the mercury gauges, etc., so there's no need for extra gauges here. And everything else is easy to use when you're underway, all push button, etc. Toggle switches for a few things, but not many. This boat has Lenco trim tabs, but it has all of the usual mercury features. So there is trim control, etc. on the throttle controls. In terms of driving the boat, this boat responds very, very well. There's plenty of power. Two 225 horsepower Mercury V6 engines. We saw 46 knots in the flat water, but it happily cruises at around 32 knots, at which point it feels very comfortable indeed. There's quite a lot to like about the inside of this wheelhouse. The boat it's pitched as an expedition model, so it's supposed to have a sort of a rugged feel to it, and I guess it does, but the internals actually all are very high quality, even if they also meant to be hard wearing, right down to these textured ceiling panels. It's going to stand the test of time, I'm sure. I also quite like this. It's almost a soft touch on the dashboard. It isn't. I think it's just a thick sort of paint finish, but it looks and feels quite nice. It's also non-slip. Some other details which you've got to like. We've got grab handles here and there. We've got grab handles for both the passenger and the driver. Decent footrests. So this is a boat that you can comfortably take out in rough conditions, and you're going to feel secure and safe. And the same is true for the rear passengers. You can seat two or maybe even three behind inside the wheelhouse. That seat is reversible, which is a great feature. Currently it's configured so that people can face out into the cockpit for a social situation, but when you're underway you can have them facing forward. You can close off the wheelhouse with the clears aft, and there's also a manual opening sunroof here for a bit of extra ventilation. Side doors, one each side, giving access to this full walk around deck. So while this is an expedition is the name of the boat, and I guess that's what they have in mind, and quite a few of them are being used for that style of boating. It also has the provision to overnight. There's actually quite a decent sized cabin down underneath the foredeck. It's low, of course, because as you can see we've got the foredeck there, but it is quite well equipped. There's a bit of storage in there. There's also a separate head with a vanity and a sink. So you could quite happily overnight there. That area also underneath the bunk also gives access to all of the tankage. That's where the fuel is held. 450 litres in this boat, but the factory is happy to increase the size of the fuel tank if you like. So this foredeck area is kind of clever. I mean, you can stash all of the squabs downstairs in the cabin, of course, and then it's just a nice textured fibreglass deck, which is great to fish from, for instance, or if you're boarding on and off the bow. But on a sunny day like today, you can lay down these squabs, and you've got a really comfortable sun deck area. So that works really quite well. And of course, you've got direct access from the cabin if you like. We just lift the hatch here. You actually have to move the squabs a little bit to lift it when the squabs are down, but when they're not laid down, this opens easily. Good access, so you can walk all the way through from inside the wheelhouse up onto the foredeck. Great when you want to operate the anchor, for instance. So the anchoring arrangement is quite interesting too, quite clever. The stainless steel bowsprit is hinged, so once the anchor is in and snubbed up to the bowsprit, you can hinge the whole assembly inside the anchor locker, so it's all nice and tidy. And you'll notice the bow of the boat has a rubber buffer, so this boat is designed to nudge up against something should it need to. It also has some really heavy duty rubbing strips right around the belting, runs all the way around the deck, at the deck line. One of the things that makes this boat quite interesting is that the hull is aluminium. It's marine grade aluminium. They do talk up the quality of their aluminium quite a lot. Certainly the quality of the welds is really good, and the construction looks to be really heavy duty, so I've got no doubt that this hull will hold up over the years. But the topsides and decks are fibreglass, and some of that is manufactured in the same factory as boats by XO, which this boat looks somewhat similar to. The other aluminium components of the boat include the handrails and side rails, and there's also some support posts for the hardtop, which are also aluminium. It's all nicely powder coated in black. In this boat, the hull itself is wrapped with a carbon look plastic wrapping. Looks very smart. The importers have added features such as the roof racks. You could put kayaks up there, you could put paddle boards, even bicycles. That's often done in Scandinavia, where this boat is also marketed. So the walk around is wide enough to easily negotiate, and the cockpit, while it's not huge, is actually quite well laid out. This bait table and rod holder setup is something that the importers have put on themselves for the New Zealand market. The same with the chili bin here. Normally you would have a rear seat here, although in this particular boat you can also drop in a rear squab to bring it back to a seat should you want it. A reasonable amount of space in here. We've got quite a big underfloor locker, but that also gives access to some of the tanks and some of the other bits and bobs that go with a boat of this size. Also a good amount of storage. The cockpit drains via these grates here down into the sump. There are also scuppers should you really get some water over the bow or on board. Although to be fair, we haven't seen a single splash over the bow today, so I have a feeling this is a very dry boat indeed. These rocket launchers here are another addition that the importers have made, again just to make this boat a little bit more friendly. And this is not a bad place to fish from, because you know, on a calm day you can get well out onto the platform here. It's pretty good. You've got enough support here and there to hold on to should you want to, but even from inside the cockpit you've got quite a good swing around room, so she's not bad at all. I also like the fact that the rocket launcher isn't angled so much that the rods lean over the cockpit itself, so that's going to be useful when you're fishing from it. Another use for this bait board, and one that we will make use of today, is as a support for the barbecue. So it's perfect if you want to eat out here. And the space is quite good. We can drop a table in, and we've got a social space here on the boat. So, you know, it's really a bit of an all-rounder. It's more than just a commuter boat, really. You could use it for family boating, for any kind of boating things that you have in mind. So this is clever. The rear seat here, at the moment, is oriented to face out to the cockpit, but when you're underway, it tilts and faces forward. And that's, you know, there's enough seating area there for three, so you could easily fit 5 people inside the cabin in comfort. We've got a drop down back here to keep the weather out on a bad day. Another feature of this Wheelhouse is that the sliding doors. Yes, we've got sliding doors forward either side, you know, for the passenger and the helmsman, but the rear doors also slide, so it's quite a clever system. This is a deep V hull, and it's pretty soft riding. You know, conditions are pretty nice out here today, although we had a little bit of, you know, a little bit of choppy water out a little bit wider, but it feels to me like it's going to be a very dry boat. We haven't had a splash of water over the bows. Certainly if you throw it into a turn, it's pretty responsive. I certainly threw it into a turn at 30 knots plus and didn't feel too scary. Richard, the importer, is happy to throw it into a full speed turn at 45 knots. That's beyond me, but he reports that it's very, very stable and it goes where it's pointed, and that seems to be the impression that I'm getting as well. I am struck by how quiet it is. It is an aluminium hull, but you really wouldn't know it. And the fact is that most of the touch points aren't aluminium, they're actually GRP, so from up here it feels like a fiberglass boat. I think testament to its reputation as a rough water boat. It's equipped with spring suspension seats, which work very well indeed. In fact, the rear passengers noticed that they were being bounced around a whole lot more than we were sitting up front. The seats really do a good job of cushioning the ride. Another feature of this boat is that it has a 2.5 metre beam, which means it is legal to tow on New Zealand roads. However, it weighs in at somewhere north of 4 tonnes on the trailer, and this boat has a custom built trailer made here in New Zealand, very nicely made trailer. But we towed it behind a Ram 1500 Rebel, and it was just fine. And that vehicle obviously is rated to tow 4.5 tonnes, and it managed this boat without any issues at all.
The XO Crossover DFNDR is a great example of practical design, sound engineering, and XO's relentless pursuit of versatility. Whether commuting, fishing and diving, or simply exploring new coastlines, this boat is ready for whatever the journey may bring.
John Eccleston from Boating New Zealand. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more of these videos, please subscribe to our channel.